Welcome to KLOS New and Approved. I'm your host, Matt Pinfield, and really excited about my guest tonight. An incredible artist that I've loved for so many years, and he actually is a very, very close friend of mine as well. So I'm really happy to welcome him to the show. It's Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. Jacoby, good to see you, brother.
So good to see you too, Matt. You know I love you, brother. Thanks for having me on, man, for real.
It's so good to have you here, man. You know, it's cool. We've been staying in touch, during the pandemic through Zoom and through phone calls. And, and I'm just so glad that we've had at least that way to communicate during all of that. But, things have, are starting to open up again, which is really cool,
It's
So it's a good time, Jacoby. A lot of cool things are happening. Of course, the release of the new Greatest Hits Volume 2, The Better Noise Years, which is, you look at that now, and doesn't it blow your mind that you have two Greatest Hits albums, that it's been, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. In the past 20 years, 21 years, that's how much great material you've been able to put out. Talk to me about looking back and on all that.
No, Matt, it really does blow my mind when you're telling me, second greatest hits. I'm like almost laughing at it. Like, what? What? Really? This is happening? And this last 10 years in particular has been a great 10 years for our band. And this greatest hits features, that transition that we've made stylistically, musically, and really just push the boundaries on what we do and what we bring to rock music. And ultimately, this is a celebration of our music and the relationship that we built with our fan base. And yeah, I'm just kind of like, what? Greatest Hits Volume 2? Yeah, Greatest Hits Volume 2, for real.
I know.
And, it's rad to release, and we took a lot of time and care and putting the packaging together. I'm a big fan of vinyl, as I know you're a big fan of vinyl.
Yeah.
And so we really wanted to create something that looked like it had been through the ages. And so, yeah, I see it up on the screen right there. It looks like that vinyl's been sitting in there, got worn out on the shelf for years. And it's that process of creating the physical piece of this element is really important to us, because I'm a lover of that physical element of music, and having a piece of vinyl where I put it on the record player and set the needle down and just walk away and let it play. That's something that's so just sacred to me and to music. And I think it's a really cool collection of our songs. And, we look to the fans to kind of decide what was going to be on the record. Cause we know, there are the singles, and those are important, but then there's also deeper cuts like Broken Is Me that we had on the record that wasn't a single, but the fans gravitated toward that song. We saw people spinning that on our streaming services, and we're like, why not put that on the record? The fans chose, like, that was a greatest hits. That was a hit to them. And so we had our friend Danny Warsnop from Asking Alexandria come and feature on that, and he just crushed the vocal. And so it gave it a new life, and we shot a music video for it. That thing's coming out in the next few, and just a lot of really cool content for the fans to hold on to and grasp and celebrate with us. And yeah, man, it's a special moment for our band in our career right now, and I'm grateful, beyond grateful.
Yeah, it's amazing, and people are really celebrating the history of Papa Roach now, Jacoby. The Vice did this whole show and documentary on making of the song Last Resort, and it's taken on a new life in so many ways. But first, let's talk about how much fun was it for you to make that documentary and kind of go take a look back at Infest and that very first record and the song that was that breakthrough song for you.
Oh yeah, man, I am so honored to be featured on Vice with that piece. Vice is it's such a cool network, and they cover a lot of really cool stuff, and to be part of that, I'm pinching myself like, we're doing this for real. And we've gotten so much really good feedback from that piece in particular. But to go back and revisit the story 20 some odd years later and to be able to tell the story behind the song just gives it more depth and makes the song mean so much more to people and to myself. And the impact that that song in particular had, and that record had on rock music, and how it still continues to have an impact. It's one of those songs, it's timeless. And you know, it's like the first song we released as a band. Like, how do you top that? You know, I don't know how you do. But it's given us an opportunity to go back in the studio and create and have another shot at it and give it another try. And it's really forced us to push ourselves into new directions and new spaces creatively. But I think one of the most important or special moments for me was to be able to sit with my friend Mark and talk about that time in our lives and what was going on and the story behind that, and to really have some healing. And he said something that was pretty profound, and it really shook me, was that it's like, you know, the song, it's not about suicide, it's about the response to being in that place of negative, dark self-reflection, and how do you respond to that. And the beauty in this whole song is that it's been a beam of light and hope to a lot of people out there that have struggled or have friends or family that have struggled with that. And I think that's beautiful to be able to create a piece of art that came from a real, authentic, honest, true place, and it be a beacon of light and hope to people.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, if that's all I had to offer the world, like if my career was over and that was it, like to be able to impact people's lives in a positive manner that way, like check the box, done. Wow. But I got more to say, and that's the beauty in it all. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I'm watching you play. There's a little clip there from a song called The Ending, and we're still making music. That song went #1 on rock radio, and that's 20 years later, and we're still.
It's so great. You know, yeah, and I think about it, Jacoby. We should also mention with Last Resort, on the lighter side of things, there was this whole rebirth through Tik Tok and this dancing thing. Tell me about that, how that all happened. Because I know you with these new young fans and people. Explain to everybody who's watching how this whole thing transpired and what it is.
Yeah, man. So social media platforms have been a stage for people to perform on, in a sense, in all different ways: comedy, musical, goofy stuff that's just mindless. But there was this young dude named Jairus Johnson on TikTok, and he did this reimagination of Last Resort. And that thing went viral, and I started to get texts from friends like, hey, dude, you see this kid? He did this flip at Last Resort. And in the clip itself, he's like, oh, imagine if I could actually get a Papa Roach feature. And I was like, all right, maybe. And so we were in the studio recording drums, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hit him up. So I hit him on the DMs. I'm like, yo, dude, what's up, man? It's Jacoby from P Roach. Like, roll down to the studio. Let's just hang out. You know, I just want to see like what you're all about. And he came down to the studio, and we became fast friends. It was like, he came from the metal scene, and he played in metal bands as a young kid. He started his musical path when he was 13. You know, I started with Papa Roach when I was 16. P Roach is my first band. I'm still in it, you know. But he has a really cool perspective on music, and really brought something special and unique to Last Resort that I was feeling it. And I wanted to bring him to the studio to kind of vet him, because it's a classic track, right? And I didn't want just anybody to get their hands on this song and take it and run with it. And we clicked, man. And so we got in the studio and flipped this track and took it to the house. And now we have Last Resort Reloaded, Papa Roach featuring Jairus Johnson, and celebrating that song 20 years later. And that thing's streaming like crazy right now. It's I don't know what the streaming numbers are up to this week, but last time I checked, it had been out for just over a week, and it was at like 4 to 5 million. And so I think I think it continues to rise, and people are sharing it. And that's the beauty of this social media, man, is it's like it's exposing us to another generation of rock fans. And that's what I think is fun and exciting. And there's a lot of young talent out there that are using these platforms to use it as a stage to convey what they want to do creatively. And it's a new era of creativity and how people reach other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you were mentioning earlier, of course, the song The Ending, which was on the last studio record, but I love that you brought that out for The Retaliators. This is a new movie. Of course, it's like a horror thriller, but the best part about it is it's your acting debut. So, Jacoby, talk to me about how this happened, and it transpired. We're excited to see it. How did this come down?
Yeah, so somebody told me one time, they said, life begins when you get out of your comfort zone. And I'm always, I don't like change. I like to stay comfortable, but I know that to grow, I got to get uncomfortable. And I had this opportunity come across my desk. My manager hit me up. He's like, hey, man, what do you think about doing some acting? And I was like, acting like what? Because I can act a fool, you know? And he was like, no, we have this part in this film called Retaliators. We have this character they'd like to pitch you. And so they sent me the character. They sent me the storyline. I read it and I was like, God, this guy is nothing like me. This guy's a deplorable, dark, sick, twisted, like, let's say evil human. And I was like, you know, this is definitely outside my comfort zone and I'm looking to like try something new. So let's do this. And I took the role and I jumped outside the comfort zone. And luckily I had great directors that coached me through the process and really helped me. And I learned a lot in the process, and they kept telling me, dude, you're natural, man. Like, just keep doing what you're doing on camera. You're good at being subtle with the acting and not overacting the part. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, if you say I'm doing the right thing, then I'm just going to follow your lead. And so I actually haven't seen the film in its entirety yet. And so I'm kind of nervous, you know, because I saw clips of what I did, but I haven't seen the whole piece as a whole. And so I'm chomping at the bit to see the entire film and see how it came out. But it definitely was exciting. It was rad to have our song, The Ending, featured in the film as well. One of the directors, Sam Gonzalez, directed the music video and did a great job. And it was a pleasure working with him. And he really captured a cool energy from the band and just a great guy in general. And it was cool. It was great working with him. And so definitely in the future, I think I'd be interested in trying to get outside the comfort zone and try acting again.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. So I'm really looking forward to it, and so are your fans, to seeing The Retaliators when it does come out. You know, so Jacoby, I want to talk also about the fact that, you know, during the pandemic, you and I, we've been friends. I mean, we're real friends, close friends. So, you know, we talk on a regular basis. And we both were very open and honest that we went through relapses during COVID. You know, we were sober, and then it had a major effect on a lot of people that are in recovery. So let's talk about that, because, you know, you and I both been open, because, you know, our thing is to want to help others, to let them know they're not alone, and that they have support out there. So tell me about that.
Yeah, man. I came home off the road and life was looking like, all right, you know, I'm home. Cool. I haven't been home for a long time. And after a few months of being home, I started to kind of settle into a bit of a depression, to be completely honest. And I isolated myself from my recovery friends and my recovery period. And you know, I found myself, I started smoking weed and getting high. And my world got real small. And when I did that, it cut me off from God. It cut me off from my friends. It cut me off from the world. And I became very depressed and isolated. And that's not a safe place for me to be. You know, I didn't pick up the bottle. And I think that that was my excuse, honestly, was that I'm not drinking. I'll be all right. And I think that that's like a bad place for someone in recovery to be, is going, I'll be all right. I'm just dabbling in this over here. And I know that I would have fallen back into the darkness if I didn't put a stop to it. And I had a good friend of mine. He posted something on social media, talking about his recovery. And I just broke down. I picked up my phone and I called him. I'm like, dude, I just need help, man. Like I'm spinning out. I'm depressed. I'm in a real bad place. And you know what it is, man? It's like that weed. It just amplified all my insecurities, all my darkness, all my frustrations, and really, like, my world just got small, dark, isolated, and depressed again. And that's the devil's playground, you know? And that's a bad place to be. And so I was open and honest, and I came back to my recovery circle, and I told my people what I was up to, and that I needed help again. And I got the help that I needed. And it's good to be participating in my life again, participating in my recovery, because whenever I put any kind of mind altering substance into my body, it just fucks me up. It fucks me up. And I'm wired like that. And so when I am clean and sober, that's when life begins again. And I feel the lights coming back on. I mean, if I look at it, hold on, let's see here today. Let's go to the recovery calendar and look at this thing and find out today I'm 104 days sober, 104 days clean and sober.
Which is fantastic, man. You know, and I'm part of your circle. You know, we have our group
Absolutely.
of guys that are in recovery, and it's a good thing because we're all there for each other. And I think that's so important for anybody that's watching or listening. That's the most important thing, is to know you're not alone and reach out and let people know if you're struggling, whether it's with, you know, substance abuse, alcohol, depression, anything you're going through. You know, let someone know. But Jacoby, you're doing great. We're both doing it, man. You know, you were running earlier today. I was at the gym. I mean, we're doing it. We're going for it, man. We're back in the light, which is a great thing. Now, you know, I love you've got the Greatest Hits album coming out, the Better Noise Years. But it's really amazing. I was lucky enough that when you were shooting the Vice special thing on Last Resort and on the song, you played me some tracks you were working on. I'm not asking you to mention any names, but the stuff sounded insane. It was so good. And talk to me about what this next record is going to be like, because I was blown away. I mean, it was intense. It was great. Really good. So can you tell your fans kind of what they can expect, or just give them a little bit of an idea of what that's going to be like? Because I was knocked out. I sat in your SUV and we listened to those tracks, man, blasting, and it sounded so great.
Thank you, man. I gotta say, this music is very inspired, and I think taking the opportunity while we were locked and jumping into the studio and making music, it gave me I was feeling trapped, you know, and to be creative and focus all this dark negative energy and bring it to the music. The band, everybody was so inspired when we were creating. And so there's elements that are super heavy and in your face and just loud, brutal moments. And then there's funky, just out of the box, wacky, weird music. I mean, it's kind of all over the place, to be honest. It's a little musical ADD, but I think that's what kind of who we are, essentially. Like, I can't just fit myself in one box creatively and just do the same thing over and over. And here we are, you know, dropping this Greatest Hits release, and we're on the heels of that, and we're going to be dropping another release. This will be our 11th release as a rock band. We signed a brand new record deal, and so we're moving on and trying something new. And I think that when we're standing on the edge and like ready to jump off this cliff into new uncharted territory, it's like, all right, fuck it. We're going to build our wings on the way down, and we're going to fly. And that, I think, sitting on the edge of that is a really exciting space to be in when you're creative, and in the creative space. And I think the P Roach fans are going to be floored. And I feel like we did our best job at trying to push rock and roll into the future and trying to take rock and roll to a new creative space that is progressive, and I think we're not stagnating at all. I will say that, and I think we're going to blow some people's minds with this new record.
Yeah, well, it sounds great. The stuff that I've heard really knocked me out. So I'm excited for your fans, Jacoby, which is great. And you mentioned the vinyl too, which is great. I was telling you how I bid on eBay on a picture disc 7-inch of your single "To Be Loved," which I showed you when I won the bid. So I did that because I buy records and I love that track always. So I won it, which was really cool. But so, Jacoby, I want to tell you, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with me today, man. It's great to see you always. And I'm excited about the new stuff, seeing you in the Retaliators, you know what I mean? And also for people to check out this new version of "A Broken of Me," right? Is that what's going on with Danny from Asking Alexandria, which is on the record, which is really cool, as well as the other tracks. And I know, because of your last 2 shows that took place at the Roxy, they were explosive. Or were there 3 shows? How many shows were there?
I think it was 3 nights, actually.
3 nights. You sold out 3 nights, and you are, you are still, as far as I'm concerned, and I know everybody else was there, I'm like, now this is what a front man should be. This is, you're on fire. And so I'm excited when you get the chance to go out and play again. Are you booking any dates now at all? Because I know that some festivals they're kind of teetering on the idea of announcing some festivals. Have you guys been approached? Have you talked about any gigs coming up?
So we had a conference call about 2 months ago, and we were just like, we have no idea when this thing's coming back. Well, over the last 2 months, a lot of changes have happened. A lot of people are getting the vaccine. A lot of states are opening back up, and that's very promising. And so actually next week, we're having a conference call discussing exactly how we're going to approach touring and getting into the live space again. And we know the fans are ready for it. We know the fans want rock and roll live, that experience. We're all craving it. And us as a band, like, we're ready to go rip it. It's just, we don't want to put a bunch of dates up on sale and then half of them get canceled and then it just becomes a mess. And so we're going to kind of, I guess, to be honest, Matt, I have no idea. You know what I mean?
I guess I'll find out when you find out, pretty much.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
around the same
I'm
time.
like, I don't want to play shows, man, but we want to do it at the right time. And what we do have is, we got a bunch of stuff in the can. I just did a bunch of different guest spots on different people's records. And then we have our brand new record. We're going to be shooting music videos for that. I do know that either late July or early August, we're going to be dropping some new music from our upcoming album. And so the rest of this year, come summer, is going to be a continual drip of new music, new side pieces that I've done with other bands, and leading up to a full release of the record and touring. And so we're standing on the edge of a lot of really good stuff, and we put a lot of work into it. We have not been lazy.
You have not. And, we've been playing, of course, for a while. You with the Who, Wolf Totem, which is really great. Can you, before we say goodbye, can you talk to us about any of the collaborations we have to look forward to?
Oh, man. I've been sworn to secrecy on this thing, but I can tell you that I just dropped this piece with my friends in Apocalyptica.
Yeah.
And that's on streaming services. You guys can go check that out. We did the classic Cream track, White Room.
Cool.
I've been wanting to work with Apocalyptica for years, and my name had come up in the talks as they were creating their new record, and they hit me up and asked me if I wanted to do it. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. That's a classic track. Back in the day, I got to do Smoke on the Water with Carlos Santana, and that's like another iconic rock track. And so this really kind of seemed to fit, like, all right, I feature my voice on a classic rock track like that. Let's see what I would sound like doing White Room by Cream. And it came out really cool. And I just shot the music video for it, so fans can look out for that real soon. And so that's the latest one that I've done. But I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 more coming.
4 more collaborations. That's amazing.
4 more coming, dude. So, you know, just go to paparoach.com. People stay tuned to what we're doing. Hit us on that socials, and we got a lot of really cool announcements of things that'll be dropping throughout the rest of this year.
All right, great. Well, Jacoby, thank you so much for doing the show and checking in with me, man. It's always good to catch up with you.
Hey, Matt, you know I love you, brother, to the moon and back, man. And thanks for being part of my recovery. Thanks for being who you are in this rock and roll community, dude. You've been a beam of light. And I've been a fan of yours since I was a kid, all the way back in the day. And so to come to know you through the years, and, you know, it's been a pleasure for real, man. I love you, bro, for real.
Yeah, and that's mutual. I love you too, Jacoby. You are a good man, and you know what, man? And I'm so excited, my brother, that this new stuff that's going to be coming out. People are going to be blown away when they hear the new tracks. And I'm glad we're both back doing healthy and on track and doing our thing, man. You know what I mean? Can't keep us down. That's the important thing to remember. We're going to be, we're out here doing it. It's great. So thanks so much, Jacoby. It was great to see you, man, and we will see you soon. All right. Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. Don't forget, you can check out and order the Greatest Hits Volume 2, The Better Noise Years. There's an incredible vinyl version of it for you vinyl collectors. I'm Matt Pinfield. Thanks so much for watching. This has been KLOS, New and Approved.